So, Mom's house. What appears to have happened is that at some point a water pipe, in particular the kitchen, near the kitchen sink area, froze and exploded, except that the house was vacant, so nobody was there. So nobody was able to do anything about it. It would appear that the water continued to run and run and run for an extended amount of time, judging by the amount of water in the basement, until like something like short-circuited and tripped a breaker. The house is on a well. Once that breaker was tripped, the well should have stopped pumping water. I'm gonna go ahead and say that that's exactly what happened. There was a lot of water, like a lot. Okay, so Mom had an accident. There's no nice way to put it. She fell on a crowbar that was in a box. That crowbar went into her eye socket and into her brain about halfway through her skull. She endured many hours of brain surgery where they weren't 100% sure she was going to make it. She did finally make it. She pulled through. She spent a long time in hospitals after that, like over a year. So she went home. She stayed at home with my dad. My dad was her main caretaker. My dad then got diagnosed with liver cancer. He had a dissection of the liver. That went okay for a few years, and then the cancer came back with a vengeance, and they weren't able to dissect. They had to do a full organ transplant. After the organ transplant, they did pretty well at home until my father died. Now, don't get me wrong, while they were at home in between everything, I was hiring nurses to come in for X amount of hours a day, make sure that they're healthy and that they have their medication and that their doctor's appointments are taken care of, and the laundry and meal prep and all this other stuff just to simplify life for them. They were doing quite well, and then my father passed away unexpectedly, at which point Mom continued to live alone. That woman, I swear to God, dude, she has overcome and defied odds many of times. She was able, even though being paralyzed on the left side, to be able to get herself in and out of her wheelchair, on and off the couch, on and off the toilet, in and out of bed, into the kitchen to make food. We did have to do a few things to the house to help accommodate her, but after these accommodations, and with nurses coming in for about 12 hours a day every day, she was able to stay home. She went to a doctor appointment one day and was called back later on her blood work about congestive heart failure. She went to the hospital. She was treated for the congestive heart failure. However, she lost a lot of strength during this hospital visit that she was not able to regain, considering, her initial accident was over 10 years ago. 10 years later, she's a bit older. Her health's, gone downhill in certain manners a little bit. But anyway, she was not able to recover. And due to the fact that she wasn't able to recover physically, she wasn't going to be able to go home anymore. So unfortunately, we had to put her in a home. But now we put her in this home on a temporary basis. What was supposed to happen is physical therapists were supposed to come in and work with her. And she was supposed to also, even when the physical therapists weren't there, do as much as she could on her own to regain her strength so she could go home. Everybody was happy with, that idea. But we were like, look, just work really hard and, we'll get you back there. I'll, get your nurse back and all this other stuff. And well, as time has gone on, she has not gotten any better. She's put on more weight, which actually makes it even harder to move forward and get better. But anyhow, during this time frame is when this water pipe burst. But by the time I found out, the house was completely trashed, mold all over absolutely everything. I mean everything. And I have some videos here that I will insert to show you guys the condition of the inside of the house. Now the outside of the house looked fine, absolutely fine. You would never guess that that's what's going on inside. Regular homeowners doesn't cover if nobody's staying at the house. You have to get a separate policy for them. And that's what they were saying is the difference in between the insurances is that the vacant stuff covers, it charges you an extra amount because when somebody's living there and things happen, the intervention happens pretty quickly. But when the home is vacant, intervention can't happen until somebody finds out. So, yeah, nobody was able to intervene, before the house was completely trashed. Anyhow, so yeah, the insurance company is saying that they won't cover it because the house was vacant. Shortly after this, I randomly get a phone call one day. Some guy named George. He's like, I want to talk to you about your mom's house. I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, who in the fuck are you? Like, I don't know, I'm just confused. Like, how do you know about my mom's house? How did you get my fucking phone number? Are you so-and-so's daughter? I'm like, yeah. He's all like, well, the house went to foreclosure auction yesterday. And I'm like, what? I'm like, excuse me? He's like, yeah. It's been foreclosed on for quite some time now. And the auction was yesterday, and such company bought it, and here's what they bought it for. He's like, what I would like to do is, he's like, I'm an investor. I would like to basically come in and see if I can offer you more than what it sold for at the auction. Which I actually found George to be insanely helpful because he gave me a bunch of information that I otherwise wouldn't have known. He's like, you have to do this within this time frame and do that within this time frame, and you can sell it out from underneath the auction people and all this other stuff, and you have to do this, and you got to do it in certain manners and certain time frames. So I'm like, okay, I'm interested. Basically, if that's where we're at, of course we want more money for it. So I told him, okay. And then I arranged a time and day for him to come over and take a look at the house, but I also called around to some real estate agencies in the local area, and I gave them a rundown of the property, a screenshot of where it's at. It's in a town that, I don't know how to put it, it's a very prestigious, high-number town. Empty lots are very expensive, so even without even with the house being damaged like it was lakefront property. The garage was not attached to the house, so it was not affected. So the garage is actually in pretty decent condition. Yeah, I called up some real estate agents and I said, here's the situation. This particular day at this time, if you are interested, you and your investors please show up and basically make an offer. More or less, I'm going to run an auction on my own. You're invited to come. So some people showed up. We let them go through the house. Over the course of the next couple of days, I had the offers come rolling in. And I was able to get her more than what it sold for at the auction. Then there's what she owed and all this other crap, because her house was not paid off by any means, and the bank had to be satisfied. I'm very glad that this guy George called me because it gave me an opportunity to step in, and I think the humidity just got shot up times like a million, and that is when the mold just took over from every which way. The cabinets were sagging, falling off of the walls. The ceiling fans were bent downward in a not very good position. The main floor upstairs, dude, it was bowed all over the place. I remember walking on it, I almost tripped actually, because I wasn't expecting it, and I thought maybe the carpet was just bubbled, not the entire wood floor. Yeah, I don't even think it was safe to be walking on that floor. I did take a quick walk through, just really fast, and I was like, all right, I don't think, one, nobody should be breathing this, and we should get the fuck out, and I'm not going back in. Actually, when I sent the real estate agents in, they were like, oh, you first, and I was like, nope.